Ferrante, you did not want to sing with me just now. I was singing to the jingle, and you just sat there and looked at me. You did not sing along.
You don't want me singing today. It's not what you want me here for today. It's the last thing you want somebody like me doing.
I'm sure you are well known throughout the SCV, but just in case there is a listener who does not know who you are, Rick Ferrante is in studio with me. He is the president of Care Services Santa Clarita, and when he comes, it's always a fun time. He tells us all about the great stuff that is going on in our valley. Last time we talked about the Alzheimer's Walk and the money that was put together, and really what that money in the valley, in our valley, where does that go?
Right.
And so you always tell me, and you always tell me of events coming up. So where do you want to start today?
Well, that's the whole point. And I make sure that everybody knows this valley was extremely supportive of this walk. And I keep talking about it because it was, even the afterglow is still there. It was a wonderful time, and we've raised a lot of money. And where does that money go?
Where does it go, Rick Ferrante?
So 2 places. One, it goes to research. We don't have research institutions out here, so it goes to those places that are going to be most effective in finding a cure. And if we can find a cure, we don't need a walk, Tori, so we need to find a cure. So it does go to those places. It's going to be places like USC and UCLA and places like that. Okay?
Gotcha. Okay, that's number one. Number two?
Number 2 is all the programs that occur out here. And I'm going to give you a couple of really good examples because they're really current. Tonight, we have an educational program there at Care Services Resource Center right in our office that is effective communication strategies with Alzheimer's patients. This is a program that was produced by the Alzheimer's Association. They've trained, I'm presenting this one that trained me. We have materials. There's other resources online, all kinds of stuff that people come and can learn about effective communication. It's tough. One of the biggest problems in terms of all the stages, both early, middle, and late stages, is how to communicate with somebody. It is different, Tori. It's not the kind of thing that's really intuitive for people to kind of think, okay, this is how I deal with this, because it is a cognitive issue. It's dementia that has its own challenges, special challenges, especially at the various stages for communications. People just are having a hard time finding, where do I find resources, information, education about this for me to help deal with my loved one who is suffering from this disease. So 6 o'clock tonight at Home Care Services office.
Cinema
Drive,
okay.
23340 Cinema Drive. We're right next to Freshworks, right there in the middle of the street. Come on down, 6 o'clock. It'll be for about an hour plus some questions. But here's the thing. This is why we did this walk, right? The research is exactly what we need, and it was a fun day, and we all feel good about supporting a great nonprofit organization. But what do they do for Santa Clarita and for us here, our friends, our neighbors who are suffering from this disease? Well, this is what we do. We put together these programs, and this isn't the only one. This is the 3rd one so far in this series. We're going to be doing them all year, several times a month. Constantly, different times, different places. We're going to be setting one up at Atria. We're going to be having ones at Oakmont, where we have these presentations and educational series for various different stages, early stages, just identifying whether somebody has Alzheimer's, the 10 signs, the basics. Then this more middle stages like communications and behaviors and things like that, how to deal with it. It is so tough. And we are absolutely committed to doing that and bringing those things here. And we didn't have this last year. Okay?
This is
new.
Inaugural.
Right. So that's the point. We didn't have any of this last year. Support groups. We have a support group coming up on Thursday at 10 a.m. at Home Care Services. And that is one support group that we didn't have also last year. We had only 1 out here last year. We now have 5. We're working on a 6th that is Spanish-speaking support group. Didn't have any of this. That's what that's what the community has done, is brought this kind of thing to the valley. At our support group on Thursday, it's not just a support group, Tori. The support group is for caregivers, meaning the people who are caring for a loved one in their home. Okay, mom, dad, whoever, sister, brother, spouse. But a lot of times they have issues with the person who's actually suffering from the disease at the same time, especially if they're caring for them. What do you do with that person? And what we have is a program that helps them cognitively, but through art and painting and art at the same time. So it is a really extraordinary program that we've gotten trained on that helps those people dealing with Alzheimer's to express themselves through art, and it really helps them in terms of calm, at peace, and just getting that cognitive stimulation in a way that they appreciate and they like and that is good for them. And at the same time, that caregiver is dealing with the issues that they need to get out in a support group at the same time.
Sure.
So that's 10 a.m. this Thursday at our Home Care Services office. So we have the presentation tonight, we have a support group, we have this art program. None of this was happening before. And the reason it's happening now is because our community stepped forward, the volunteers, the sponsors, the committee, the walkers, the people that are writing checks, all stepped forward. Fantastic community. I love being out here because of that. But the point is that we're doing something with that money, and those are just examples. That's just this week.
That's one of the reasons I love having you in, because you, for so long, we would, you know how there telethons on TV. Let's just say any particular, right? And you give money, you send in, you pledge, right? And you never really know what happens to it. What happens to it? Because 10 years later, they're still asking for money, right? And you say, but are we getting close to a cure? Are we getting close to help? And that's why I love when you come in and you have concrete evidence that money is staying in the valley and it's going to people. Our neighbors, our family, our friends, and here's why, and there's always something going on. And by the way, I also wanted to say the care groups, the support groups. When I went through this with my grandmother years and years and years ago, there was no such thing. And I'm talking like 20 years ago, back east, there was no such thing. You were on your own.
So tough.
And you felt like you were the only one in the world dealing with this. Mm-hmm. And so if you have a chance to be a part of one of these support groups, I urge you to go be a part, because it is so helpful. It just gives you, it lets you breathe. It lets you say, oh, I have company. And maybe, you share ideas, you share stories, and it kind of grounds you a little bit because taking care of someone, especially 24/7, is a tough thing. I did it. It's hard. And if you think you're alone, it's even harder.
It's next to impossible.
It's
you've got your own
terrible.
family, you've got your own life.
Exactly.
But so does everybody else. If you can get in there with other people that are dealing with the same thing, that's what the support groups are, is about the other people in there. It's not somebody just presenting. Occasionally you'll bring in something like that, but mostly it's let's talk about our stories. What is challenging? And then people come up, everybody else that's been dealing with this, and throw out a million ideas for you. I can't take, there is never somebody that doesn't walk out of those going, I'm really glad I did this.
Absolutely.
So take advantage of the resources that we have,
Please.
that we didn't have before, and more are coming. Literally, those three things I just said are happening this week, and we're going to keep going for the rest of the year.
Repeat those three things one more time.
Tonight at 6 o'clock at Home Care Services, we have Effective Communication Strategies. It's an educational program. That's a presentation.
Got it.
This Thursday at 10 a.m. at our office is the support group.
Got it.
And with that support group, and this is optional, you don't have to bring the person that is suffering from the disease, but you can, and that person can then be part of this art program that helps cognitive stimulation through art, through painting.
Love it.
All that happening this week, and more to come.
HomeCareSantaClarita.com.
Right?
Yes?
Yep.
Right?
And the number is 800-808-4777. 800-808-4777. Give us a call. We can, tell you what's going on and what's happening here and there and everywhere.
I love it. You're always welcome, Rick Ferrante. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Much luck with all the events going on this week and next year. And you'll be back. You'll be back in a little while, right?
Thanks for having me.
All righty.